Waterville Valley. And we'll do a roll call.
What date?
Oh, today is January 14th,
What year?
2025.
Okay, thank you.
And can we start with you, sir?
Waterville Valley. No, you're good. Okay.
We'll do a roll call.
John Racine ex officio.
Paul Ricotta, member.
Rebecca Hastings, member.
Garrett Levy, chair.
Charles Hastings, member.
Jenny Lucas, member.
Thank you. I think Cindy is out today. She can't make it. All right. So quick housekeeping note. Meeting of alternates. So my term is up in March, I believe. And so I'm sort of giving notice that one of you could possibly be chair. And you looking at me? Just heads up, it's January, so we have some time to think about it. Any other questions about that?
Do we have, I looked at dates and I couldn't remember
I have them somewhere.
if I was, or if I'm getting it confused with the library.
Mhm.
I think you and I are both.
I'll be right.
Oh, I think I have,
Okay.
I think I have them here. You gave them to us.
So you're staying on the committee, you're just not,
I'm staying on the
you're not gonna be
committee,
the chair.
Right,
Gotcha.
I can be a member or
Like
alternate.
someone,
Jenny's term, well, varies, expires 2027. Becca, 2025.
five, let's see.
Charles, 2025. Paul, 2025. Cindy, 2026. Patrick, 27. And
John Racine.
I don't have a date for you.
He doesn't,
Because-
he's the ex officio, so
Yeah.
it goes back to his planning
Mhm.
board.
Okay, so thank you
We'll
for
do
that. Gave me,
The thing to note, whoever is up for 2025
Yeah,
will need to write an email or a letter to the select board
okay,
prior to town meeting in March.
okay,
And we have a select board meeting right after town meeting finishes. And we reappoint planning board members and
okay.
Mm,
So I
and
need to
Conservation Commission members, et cetera.
okay,
ask for reappointment or ask to not be reappointed.
Right,
Okay.
yes, either way.
okay. And how,
Becca.
Yeah.
And to anyone,
Oh, I won't say no.
you know, if you're,
We're stuck with it.
if you didn't want, if your term wasn't gonna be up and you didn't want to continue, you would also just let them know.
oh,
And then they'll
okay.
take steps to
So,
fill the positions, but that's,
mhm,
you know, it's
okay,
only necessary really
If
if
you
the
change.
term is
okay.
And town meeting is March,
11th,
okay, early
second
March,
Tuesday.
second Tuesday.
So if one of our members whose term expires 2025 wants to be chair, do they?
Well, that's, once everybody is reappointed or whatever, and you know who the board is,
Mhm,
then at your first meeting
Oh.
after town meeting, you would,
Appoint.
you select who
Okay.
your officers are.
Okay.
Okay, first meeting.
So you gotta stick around till March
Okay.
or whatever.
This is the April, yeah, March or April, right?
Yeah, if you're scheduled to have a meeting on March 11th, it
Mhm.
would make sense to do it on the 18th,
Sure,
the week out, whatever.
sure, yeah,
Sure, who's on.
exactly. Yeah, it might be later, all right. All right, thank you for that. Okay, let's review and approve minutes. We have two sets of minutes. First one is December 4th. Feels like a year since I looked at it.
Yeah, that would have gone out a while ago.
Yeah.
Early December. I brought a copy with me if anyone needs
Oh,
to
great.
refresh themselves.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I looked at them.
Yes,
And I was
Yeah.
favorably impressed. So,
yes.
I would move to accept the minutes.
Ah,
as
there it is.
distributed.
I'll second
Now,
that.
This is the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you again, Jenny.
Pleasure.
And now, the minutes from our special meeting last week.
I know we had a lot of extraneous discussions, but I just put minutes relative to what.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
What the topic was.
right. Can you, can someone answer this question? It says in number 3, excluding Corcoran Pond. I did get an email from someone, I won't mention names, asking me if we can include Corcoran Pond. And I thought, oh, I'm confused. So if someone can explain what the proposed amendment does by excluding Corcoran Pond? The exclusion of
Do
Corcoran
you want me to
Pond.
put that, it's, if you go on further, it says
Mhm.
it's being excluded because otherwise it would have put it into conflict with the zoning overlay district that is
Okay.
specifically in the
well,
bylaws for Corcoran Pond.
Oh, okay.
And maybe I didn't word it.
No, it's,
No, it's
you're
good.
fine.
But
You're fine.
That makes good.
Someone else was asking and I couldn't clearly see the way forward. Okay. Anything else?
Well, I think we should leave it as is. I think a second, maybe less important, but a second reason for excluding it
Mm-hmm.
was because including it would have introduced some controversy that might have prevented this getting approved at the March meeting. If we wanted this approved at the
Right.
March meeting,
Mhm.
because it applies to other shoreland areas besides Corcoran Pond. That was one of the reasons I thought.
Okay.
yeah,
should
I
be
think you're right. I think I
Mhm.
should probably put a line in there about that. Yeah,
Okay.
secondary reasons.
There were at least a couple of reasons
Okay.
to exclude it. And you added,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in
number
number
5,
5, that
yeah.
we were still concerned about this.
Any further discussion on that? Everything else look all right?
I think it's fine.
Is there a
yeah.
motion? Motion.
So we move to approve the corrections that, or the
Yes.
clarifications
Yeah.
that Jenny's putting,
Mhm.
okay?
I'll second that.
Yes. So you're approving the changes. Now can we have a motion to,
You just,
oh, we have to say all in favor
Aye.
Aye.
of the changes? And now is there a motion to approve the minutes from last week?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the special meeting from last week as amended.
A second.
Second, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Thank you again, Jenny. And we have wonderful news on our 13.5 acres. All signed and,
Well, it's yes, it is under agreement and we're doing, preparing the deed to have the closing. So that is signed and as soon as the deed is ready, we will have another meeting with David and
okay,
actually transfer the deed over to the town. And record it at the registry, so
okay,
it is under agreement.
good. Oh, were there any conditions?
There was a memorandum of understanding that was done in addition to the purchase and sale agreement, which really was an agreement for the donation of the land and whether a real sale. The memorandum of agreement is not going to be recorded. It's just an agreement between the board and David that says it's the board's intent to continue use of the land as open, free recreational use for the general public, very much the way that it is being used today. It did reserve for the town the fact that until DES tells us exactly what we have to do, there's nothing set in stone. So it was also David's recognition that the town is limited by what we might have to do with the pre-1981 cap process. But that was, so there are no hard and fast conditions, there's just an understanding. David did have conditions that he wanted, but the board, showed him where they're very limited in what they can promise for the future. Because it's all gonna depend on what DES makes them do.
Mhm.
All right, so we're looking at another month or two before,
No, the deeds, the town council's been working on the deed, since last week, so, they will. As soon as it's ready, I would anticipate probably next week or early the last week of January. That'll be ready.
all right. Our next item,
Well,
yes, you had a question.
I do have a question, and maybe Mark can answer, I'm sure Mark can answer it. The deed is being made out to the town of Waterville Valley, I
Yes.
assume.
Mhm.
Perhaps you could clarify historically, when the, I think, 1.8 acre green belt on the far side of Valley Road was, what I've read about it in minutes from the town records is that this was in effect sold or made transfer to the Conservation Commission. Does that mean that the Conservation Commission is the deed holder rather than the town?
No, it's the town of Waterville Valley Conservation Commission. It's not as an entity, you
Right.
don't own it, the town does.
Mm.
But
It stipulates that the Conservation.
unlike other town property, rather than the selectmen having authority over it and deciding how it's used, the Conservation Commission under statute
Mhm.
can determine how the land is used. And if someone were to want to buy the property from the town, they would have to come to the Conservation Commission first.
So the obvious follow-up is,
Mhm.
might this apply in some way to what happens to the 13 acres?
No, the select board has the authority over that property. Now they can set up they can sit down with the Conservation Commission and they can set out pieces of the 13.5 acres or the entire thing to be a conservation easement property. And then it would revert like the green belt
Belt.
along Snowsbrook.
Okay. And
Hmm.
Greenbelt is an actual rezoning of it, so that would have to go through rezonation processes. If we were to make part or all of this 13 acres Greenbelt as opposed to recreation?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, there would be a rezoning question.
we'll look at that when the time comes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all post DES decision on
Mhm.
Sure,
landfill. Okay.
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you for asking that. Any other questions? Comments? All right. So Does the board want to discuss shoreland protection overlay district, also known as SPOD? It's not in your, this is an old
Oh,
agenda. I wrote mine in.
okay.
Do we need to further discuss SPOD, my new acronym?
Run that by me. It's not
SPOD,
like a potato.
SPOD is officially the Shoreland Protection Overlay District. I couldn't say it fast enough.
Overlay district.
Do we need to further discuss that?
I think we do. I think that was kind of the intent that we
Okay.
indicated at our little special meeting. I think there are things that have to
Mhm,
go first, like,
mhm.
is the planning board going to discuss whether or not they should eliminate this zoning overlay district or something like that? Because until that gets addressed, we really can't do anything with regard to shoreland zoning. You're talking about Corcoran Pond, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So we have to find out where the planning board stands on that, and then also whatever these meetings are between the resort and the town and
Oh,
other
yes.
interested parties, you know, what they're all cooking up.
Mhm.
But I think we can, I mean, I think that we should include Corcoran Pond
Yes.
in some sort of shoreland
Mhm.
protection. I don't know what we can do now before we know other
Yeah, there,
pieces of the
you know,
puzzle.
So if I understand this correctly, because Corcoran Pond is a man-made body, then it cannot be shoreland protected, except for that part of Snow's Brook coming in.
I never.
Is that right or wrong?
I think that's
No?
wrong. I think every lake in
Okay.
New Hampshire has a dam of some sort.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Mm.
excluded. That's not why
Okay.
it's excluded.
Okay. So what part is,
John,
We are actually having the next meeting of the planning board.
Mm.
Would be discussing the latter part of all of this
Mhm.
to make sure we get everything ready for the town
Mhm.
meeting. So for better understanding, maybe the board or some of the board could come by and sit in with us, listen in for discussion with Tara.
didn't you vote to move it forward? You voted to move all the amendments forward, didn't you?
We did, but wasn't Tara correcting some of the language?
No, there's no, the vote was taken at the last planning board meeting
Yeah,
to move the amendments forward. And it included the shoreline protection zone without Corcoran Pond
Mhm.
mhm,
as a first step. And then take up Corcoran Pond during 2025 was my understanding of your conversation.
mhm.
And then
Mhm.
if they wanted to add it, if planning board wants to add it to a zoning amendment in 2026, if it passes this year, the first step. But it is moving forward as an amendment without Corcoran Pond.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Yeah.
But I still think we're discussing a little,
There's no,
maybe it's Tyrell design
Yeah.
that we're discussing.
well, you're waiting for Tyrell
Mhm.
to make a decision on how to proceed. You've given them until September
Yeah,
to move the design review conceptual plan that they gave you into a full-blown plan.
mhm.
So they have until the September planning board meeting to do that.
Mhm.
Do you recall when you guys made the decision to eliminate Corcoran Pond from that amendment? Do you recall what the sentiment of the board was, or was it, well, okay, we'll do it, but we need to like address this?
I think it was, geez, I think the vote was like 7-2 or 7-1 or something like that. I can't remember
It was
exactly.
5-2.
5-2, 5-2. So
It
it
was
was,
5-2 to move it forward.
Mhm.
it was pretty well understood.
But
Yeah.
did, like us, like we want to move that forward too, because shoreline protection is important for all the other areas.
Yeah,
But was there a sentiment in the room that you want to take this topic up again? For a future year, when we have more time to address the overlay?
well, like
I can
Mark
go
said,
back and-
we'll,
and
we'll
look at
take
that
another
one
look
too.
probably in 26, 426.
Yeah,
From
26.
my take on it is, from our perspective, as a conservation commission, for the near future, I don't know that we should commit a lot of time to discussing this because a lot will depend on what happens in the March town meeting. And if the March town meeting actually approves all three of these amendments, at that
Yeah.
point, I'd say we, regardless of what the planning board thinks or feels, our job is to come up with our advice to them that we should take this up on our own sometime after March. And decide what do we think should be done regarding shoreline protection of Corcoran Pond.
I
Now,
agree.
what happens to that will depend partly, well, whatever we decide can go forward as advice to the planning board. It would be also very interesting to have more information or updated information on what Tyrell wants to do. But I don't know that we actually have to wait for that. But
Yeah.
again, I think it's, right now, it's soon to be deliberating on this, because it depends on March. And I think at least some of us are wary of this topic at the moment.
I agree. Very well said.
We also talked about. Charles will like this. We also talked about trying to offer more maps
Oh, good.
in
Oh, yeah.
in all of these, so people can kind of get a visual of where and what is happening, so. That's what we're gonna try and do, is get more maps involved in this.
On the website.
I believe on the website, Mark? Yeah,
I've made up some for my own use.
okay,
And I don't know, they're basically derived from town maps, but
yeah,
I could send those to you and see if you wanna
Mhm.
advise, revise, or just whatever.
even if we maybe hang some up in the post office or
office,
something, so people can understand it.
Yeah.
For town
That'd
meeting.
be very helpful.
But that seemed to be a lot of questions when we had the public hearing of trying to understand it and wanted more maps so we could visually see it.
Mhm.
It sounded like people were more visual than reading
Yeah,
text
yeah.
reading.
Okay.
So,
a good plan.
oh, Madam Chair, I have to leave soon. I have another meeting to go to, so.
Thank you for coming. Right, we have time for privilege of the floor. Any other questions?
What happened to Rose Brook?
I forget that? Yeah, I did.
It's right here in the old.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Charles. Oh, it's so nice to have assistants left and right of me.
See, some of us actually do read these things.
Thank you. Is there an update? Has Rick communicated with you since we last?
What was the last
I
thing
know.
that you thought I said to you?
Probably nothing happening
Two-
right now.
Well, we do have a contract signed with Rick,
Mhm,
that is done.
mhm.
Rick has been communicating with the Forest Service. And we are basically, I am under the impression that we are waiting for the spring,
Yes,
for the small, projects process, to be done so that they can move forward and actually do the work this summer.
coming summer, okay.
So as far as I know.
Yeah.
Everything is in place
Mhm.
for the work to be done this summer. funding is
Let
squared
me see if I
away,
can find it.
so that is done. We can confirm that tomorrow, Brooke Brown is coming to have a discussion with the select board about all projects that are Forest Service related in town. And that is one of the projects on the list, so we will get her opinion of that.
Tomorrow,
A special meeting. It's a
Oh.
special meeting just to talk to her.
not open public.
Well, they all are
They all-
open to the public, but the intent is
Yeah.
to just catch up with
Mhm.
her and the board on,
Okay.
we have several different things going on with
Yes,
the Forest Service.
all right.
A lot of the conversation will be around the septic system versus the sewer line
Oh,
going up
Okay.
to the base lodge.
right. Oh, yeah,
That's part of the new treatment plant.
Right.
project.
right.
So,
So that's a 1 PM meeting tomorrow,
3,
3 PM.
Mark, is it just town projects with,
yeah, just,
so not resort projects?
No.
No, okay.
yeah, we're not gonna talk about the gondola. We have nothing
Hmm,
to do with that.
Okay. That's helpful.
We have, we have Triple I Road paving, we've got maintenance of the bridge out by Depot Camp.
Oh.
We've got the remediation, siltation remediation project, we got the water sewer on the sewer treatment plant project, so a lot to talk.
Oh, speaking of which, Linda and I were at well number 3 yesterday, 2 days ago. Do you know what happened to the fence? There's a break in the fence.
Oh.
We couldn't figure out if someone took pliers, shears, or an animal bit into it, but there's a gaping hole. See if I can find a picture, yeah.
Really?
Where's 3?
3 is
Just,
By Mad
could
River.
you just forward that to my cell phone?
Sure.
Great, I got
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah.
Leave that.
sappers in the wire. It's a
Mhm.
Vietnam War.
Ah,
Chain link fence.
yeah. We couldn't see.
It's gotta be bad.
Yeah. Mhm. Go back. Right there.
But it looks, yeah, it looks like. It doesn't look like an animal.
No. Think I can easily share it with mine.
Streets of 101, Mad River.
Mad River,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll
Hi,
come to
John.
my wood cooking.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. Yeah, you could see that it's well number 3 when you get the photo. Just another thing. Brand new fence.
Well,
I think it was a beaver.
4 years old.
Beaver.
Beaver did it.
A beaver.
So.
It was not a view.
It does not
not a
look like a
beaver.
beaver.
Hmm.
Not.
Right,
fine.
thanks for reminding me about that. Okay. Any other issues? This is your last opportunity to speak up.
Speak up. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes.
We have.
No. Mark, are we forgetting anything?
Nothing.
No. All right. All right.
Treatment plant project is, we had an update with the engineers, last Friday. We are on schedule to have the 30% plan completed
Mhm.
by June of this year, and so that puts us on the same schedule. We're gonna get a more detailed update from them
Mhm.
and a report to the select board before town meeting.
Mhm.
We. There's nothing really. Detailed or no major changes or anything
Mhm.
that they're working on. There will be some. Just because I know everybody gets excited about it, there will be some tree cutting that goes on out here. Because we have to drill borings, test borings for the subsurface.
Mm.
s- Situation for the planning of the site.
Mhm.
Preparation for the new buildings and the new
Mhm.
tanks and things like that that'll be associated with the new plant.
Mhm.
So there will be, we're gonna limit it as much as we can to just where they need to access it. But the engineer is coming up with a cutting plan for that, and
Mhm.
I'll share it with the commission when I have it
Mhm.
and you have a
Hmm.
meeting, so. But it's all in an area that's going to be cleared and part of the site of the new treatment plant anyway, so.
Mhm.
It's just, we will minimize it as we
Mhm.
go as much as we can.
All right, do you think there'll be room for some landscaping once it's all done? Where at that point we can perhaps plant some trees? I know,
Sure,
sounds
we will.
minor,
we-
but important.
In 2032,
3032.
I got it right this time, so. In 2032, sure, if you want to plant a tree.
And maybe they'll be planting trees in our memory by 2032.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
But it's progressing.
yeah,
So,
well, that's, yeah,
that's a good thing.
okay. Anything else? I think we're good. Charles, you good?
I don't know about that. but if there are questions.
All right, so, date of next meeting, I was looking at two dates. Either the 11th or the 26th. Of February.
Well, Charles, you do want the 26th. We're gonna be
26th.
Oh.
gone. Oh. You said the 11th?
Yeah. Is that too soon?
Yes,
It sounds too soon.
It
it is. I
does.
won't be here on the 26th, but
Yeah.
Okay, we can push it then.
if you want to do it before that, the week before.
No,
What's wrong with the 18th?
I can't. If you want to hold the meeting, I can. I have company,
Okay.
family that week.
President's Day, yeah.
I mean, I would be tempted to say we could skip February
Mhm.
unless we have something pressing, and we could just meet after town meeting,
Yes,
the 18th.
Yeah,
Mark
that
said.
makes sense.
the 18th of March.
March, okay,
How does that look?
Sounds great.
good. Back to our usual.
I guess if we had to, we could have a special meeting if we
Yeah.
needed
If we
to,
Yes.
need something.
like with amendments, if something
Yes.
came up.
Yeah,
Okay.
March
That's fine
18th it
then.
is.
at the usual time, 1.
Yes,
Is that a Tuesday?
Yep,
that,
It is a
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yes.
yes.
1 PM.
Could I just suggest that you schedule a meeting for February 11th? Because we're going to have an answer from Tyrell, and we will have a budget that includes whether or not projects are happening or things are happening around the pond.
Oh,
Mm.
So it'd be
Oh.
a good idea for you
To
guys.
review.
it'll
Yeah.
happen that fast, that soon?
It has to if it's going on the town meeting warrant.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So,
we go to
11.
press with the town report the following week. So the warrant for town meeting
Mhm.
oh,
2025
All
will
right.
be being finalized that week.
When is that, Mark?
Tyrell wants to
When-
put something on the warrant?
No. Well, no, the Board of Selectmen have to make decisions. The pond dredging project.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, there are major things that.
When is the
might be
warrant,
Or might not be,
when does the warrant have to be finalized?
the week after, the week of the 18th. of
Okay.
February, because we're gonna go to the printer,
Oh, good.
Okay.
right? So
So February 11th, we'll have news from.
you're gonna have the Tyrell
Mhm.
Board of Selectmen meeting. You're gonna have the budget hearing on February 5th. So there may be things for you to talk about on the
Mhm.
11th,
Okay.
depending on how those things go. And if the commission wants to take a position on something
Mhm.
for town meeting on March 11th,
Mhm.
Good point.
that's gonna be your last.
This
Okay.
last time, yeah.
So I thought this week's meeting with Tyrell was just a framework of
It is
questions.
just a framework, but it will be leading up to the budget hearing
Mm.
on February 5th.
I can't imagine that the town will come up with a conclusion for the dredging this fast.
We already have a proposal from the town engineer,
Mhm.
right? We've had one since,
Yeah.
when did we come up with that?
Yeah, that's been,
June,
Yeah.
May,
Yeah.
April,
Right.
something like that. I mean,
Okay,
we've been talking about this for most of 2024 with the
Mhm.
engineer,
okay.
as far as the conceptual
Mhm.
design.
All right. So February 11 it is at
Okay.
1 PM. And then hold March 18th for the next.
You know,
Meeting.
after our meeting Thursday, probably the select board meeting on the 22nd, it'll, be a topic for an update. And like I said, February 5th is just a few weeks away, and that's the
Yes.
budget
Budget. Okay.
hearing. So,
February 5th, okay. So you'll be able to give us an update on that.
yeah, they even asked for you to have a special meeting
Okay.
if the board wants conservation commission input.
Okey dokey.
all right.
So,
I move to adjourn.
and we second,
Second.
thank you, all in favor,
Aye.
thank you. Okay, did Patrick join us or not?